All right, so I'm gonna do like a update on my truck, then I'll take y'all on a little tour of the wreckage, show y'all where she hit me and all that. So, quick rundown of what happened and where I'm at and how my truck got wrecked for the people that don't know. I mean, I'm just getting this video out of the way. A lot of people keep asking about my truck, so what happened was I've been living in a Honda CRV since January 2021, and I don't mind doing it. I was living on the street before I was living in my truck, so if you want the full saga, watch my Why I Was Homeless videos. So I was living in my truck around Clearwater, Florida, which is a place where I've lived before I went to high school around here, from New York originally. But I'm living in my truck, everything's going fine. I'm trying to like save up my money. I'm doing Uber Eats, doing YouTube, and just trying to save up my money so I can get a more reliable truck and start traveling around the country. I miss Las Vegas, I miss New York. I've never been to California. Like, I want to travel around. So I was just keeping a low profile. I also do stand up comedy. I was doing stand up comedy occasionally, but mostly I was trying to save up my money. And so then one day, I'm driving down the street in Clearwater. Now, the street that I'm on is a very curvy street, you know? It's in like this kind of rich residential area. There's golf course right over there. And so it's a very curvy road, you know what I mean? So I'm riding down the road thinking nothing of it. I see a car on the right that's going to pull out, and I'm watching her just like you always watch a car. You just want to make sure they're not going to pull out in front of you. In Florida, people do a lot of dumb things. As I'm riding by, she rams into the side of me. And I mean, she was gunning it. She was trying to get across. It's like a 4-lane little road. So I guess she was either trying to make a left or get across the street. So she friggin' guns it and rams into the front side of my truck. Now, I thought I ran into her because I had just been in a wreck and she hit my car hard, dude. She knocked me over into the turning lane and into oncoming traffic just about. She hit my car that hard. And I had just been in a wreck and I thought that I hit her because as I'm driving, I just see her pull out and I'm thinking, I wasn't thinking at all. But thinking back on it, I'm like, how did she hit me that hard? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was in the left lane and she was trying to turn, and it was just such a hard impact. It was almost like she was doing like 40 fucking miles an hour or something, you know? And how she got up to that speed from right, I don't know. But so when the wreck happened, I thought I hit her. So we're sitting there. The cop literally takes an hour, over an hour to get there. Cop shows up, and I still didn't realize what happened. I was in like a state of shock or something. Because you got to look at it from my perspective. This is my car that I live in. I can't drive it now. I tried to pull it off the road. The fucking tire popped and it was bad. It sounded bad. I was like, oh my God, my car. You know, I was in like a state of shock. My house and my car just got destroyed. You know what I'm saying? And since, you know, my brother's such a fucking unreliable, selfish motherfucker. When I call him up, I'm like, yo, can you come pick me up? I just got in a wreck. He's like, no. Like, you get a ride over here. So I said, fuck this motherfucker. I just called up one of my friends. He came, or no, I wrote, anyways, I ended up having to call one of my friends. Thank God I have friends around here. And so I'm sitting there and the cop shows up and I explained to the cop, I'm like, yeah, I was riding down the road and she pulled out in front of me and I didn't have no time to react. I just hit her, you know what I mean? Like a fucking idiot. You can look at my car and see that I was hit in the side. Her front end was totaled and my side is totaled. So but like I said, I had just been in a wreck. I didn't know what the fuck. So I thought I hit her, you know? Because the last thing I remember is seeing a car pulling out. Anyway, so I tell the cop, I'm like, yeah, she pulled out in front of me. I didn't have time to react, and I ran into her. Then she goes and talks to the girl and whatever. And then the cop hands me an envelope. She's like, you know, your license is suspended. I'm like, what the? I'm like, why is my license suspended? And she's like, for an unpaid ticket. I'm like, I paid, you know, I had some stupid camera red light ticket, which I paid. And I'm like, so how do I straighten this out? I'm like, the ticket's paid. She's like, well, you just got to call the DMV. So the next day, I call the DMV. Anyways, I have my. So she gives me an envelope, and I just throw it in the car. And she told me she was giving me a ticket for a suspended license. I'm like, whatever. I know my license ain't suspended. So then I call one of my friends, and he's like, I got AAA. Use my AAA. They'll come pick you up. They're gonna take a couple hours, but you won't have to pay for it. I'm like, all right. So I use his AAA. As I'm waiting, the cop's like, well, I'm gonna call a tow truck. I'm like, well, I got one coming, so you can leave or whatever. This cop reminded me, if you put a pair of, it was just this female cop, about fucking maybe 5 feet tall, about 4 feet wide. She reminded me, if you put a pair of sunglasses on a fire hydrant and tried to talk to it, that's what, like, just a dumb person. And she's like, well, I can't wait. I'm like, well, you sure took your time getting out here. I'm like, you took over an hour to get out here. Now you're in a rush now that I can save $200. And she's like, well, I'm calling the tow truck, this and that. And I'm like, you fucking, I was pissed, bro. So, anyways, I end up having to pay for the tow. I go to my buddy's house. I stay at his house for a week. He's got a bunch of kids and shit. Like, I love his kids, but I don't want to be like a burden on my friend who, you know what I'm saying? He's got a whole family to deal with. Now he's got me in my wrecked car. He's living in this nice neighborhood. He's got this totaled Honda CRV house sitting in his driveway. I just didn't want to do him like that. You know what I mean? Every time I've ever called this dude for something, he's dropped everything and helped me out. My buddy fucking Jeff, dude. So I wanted to kind of get out of there as soon as possible. I didn't want to, but it's like they don't care. They're just, they don't care when I'm over there, but I care. I feel like I'm like a burden or whatever. So, anyways, I call up the next day at the DMV. I'm like, why do I have a ticket? Why is my license suspended for a ticket that I already paid? And they're like, you hear them typing on their little computer. And they're like, well, they're like, yeah, you did pay it, but you got another one. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, yeah, you got, within like a month, I got two of these stupid camera red light tickets, which, to be honest, I don't remember running a red light. I didn't run no red light. These cameras, it's like, how sometimes you just got to go and you miss the red light by like a split second because you can't just slam on your brakes and land in the middle of an intersection. You just got to go. So it must have been those type of situations because I don't go around running red lights. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, she's like, yeah, well, you had two of those. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. So I'm like, all right, so now I got to pay that stupid ticket. And to be honest, had I realized I had two of them, I would have taken the second one to court because you're not just going to charge me fucking $300 every time I come anywhere near running a fucking yellow light. And supposedly every time you take them to court, you beat them anyway on those camera tickets because they know it's bullshit. So it's like we're all getting robbed left and right by these criminals who run this country. And so, anyways, I pay it and all that shit. And I call my insurance and I explain to them, they're like, well, did you get the ticket for the wreck? I explained the wreck to them. And they're like, who got the ticket? I'm like, well, I guess she did. I didn't get no ticket. And they're like, okay, well, it sounds like it's her fault. So, we'll get back to you. We're going to go after her insurance and this and that, whatever. And so I'm sitting there at my buddy's house and I'm looking through the envelope. I didn't even look at the ticket yet because she gave me a ticket for a suspended license. And there's two tickets in there. One of them is for careless driving. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And so another thing I realized when I was looking at my car out front of my friend's house, I'm like, wait a minute. The side of my car is wrecked and the front of her car was wrecked. I'm like, I didn't hit her. She fucking hit me. I didn't realize that till the next day. And so then when I called the insurance, I explained that to him. I'm like, look, like a dummy, I told the cop that I hit them, but as it turns out, she hit me. You know what I mean? Oh, damn, I don't got a light, bro. And so, let's see if this one works. And so, damn, that sucks. I realized by looking at my car that she hit me. And I'm like, God damn. Anyways, when I call the insurance, I explain everything. I'm like, look, I thought I hit her, but as it turns out, she hit me. And the insurance is like, all right, well, when we look at the cars, that's going to tell us everything we need to know. I'm like, okay, good. And so then I'm looking in the little envelope, whatever, I'm just sitting there doing nothing. And I realized they gave me a ticket. I'm like, motherfucker, dude. So I called the insurance back and I'm like, look, apparently she gave me the ticket, which she never even told me about. She just told me I was getting a ticket for a suspended license. And the insurance is like, well, if you got the ticket, then you're probably not gonna get paid for your car. And my car was probably pretty much totaled. I'll show it to y'all. It's probably fixable, but since the airbags and everything deployed, they're probably going to total it out because apparently it costs thousands of dollars to reset the airbags. So the insurance is like, well, yeah, no, if you got the ticket, you're nobody's paying for your car. I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, what if I go to court and I get that ticket, overturned or whatever? They're like, then we'll come and take a look. But if you got a ticket, then we can't do it. I'm like, okay, so now in court, I'm saying I'm not accepting a guilty or a no contest. I'm pleading not guilty and fighting that ticket. I want that ticket gone. You can bring that little stump of a cop into the court, and I'll squash her in the court. And so when I was explaining it to my insurance, I'm like, look, I had just been in a wreck. I told the cop that I hit her car, but that's not what happened. You can look at the cars and you can tell. And the insurance guy is like, yeah, but that's not what it says here. What she wrote down is that you were probably speeding. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, she knows that the girl hit your car. She's saying that you were probably speeding. I'm like, what? I'm like, probably speeding. He's like, yeah, I've never seen that. He's like, either they were speeding or they weren't. I'm like, this is bullshit, bro, because first of all, I wasn't speeding. It's this curvy road where if I was speeding, I'm driving a 2005 Honda CRV with a rebuilt engine, it's not a fast car. Under the best of circumstances, it's a slow ass little car. On top of that, the handling, you could not drive down this road fast unless you were driving a car that is built for racing. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of curves. It's one of these like rich area where the road just curves every couple of feet. And that's why the girl didn't see me. I was coming around a curve, you know what I mean? But, I'm going to court in early September for the last time over this where hopefully they're going to bring that little low IQ stump of a cop in there and I can just face her and deal with her in front of the judge. That's what I'm hoping for. Or she's not going to show up. Either way, I don't care. I'm fighting this ticket all the way. Another stupid thing I did now to get my license back when I went to court one of the other times, they're like, well, yeah, you got to pay this and pay that, and then you can get your license back. So a couple of days before I was going to go to court, I was like, oh shit, I got to pay all this crap fee. So I just go online at the DMV and I pay everything. And like an idiot, I paid for the careless driving ticket, which is like an admission to guilt. So when I go into court that next couple of days, I explained to the judge, I'm like, look, last time you told me I got to pay everything to get my license back, I didn't realize that that careless driving thing was one of the things I paid. So I'm not pleading guilty on that. I'm not admitting guilt. I'm fighting that. I'm not accepting that. And she's like, okay, well, you're going to have to fill out a paper with the whatever. So anyways, I'm still fighting that ticket, even though I accidentally paid it. Um, they're going to undo that. As long as I win in court, they're going to undo it. If not, then they're just going to keep it. But we'll see. Anyways, that's the story. So this 16-year-old kid just rammed into the side of my truck, and I'll show y'all what she did. I can't believe I forgot to bring a lighter out. I really want to smoke one right now. Man, that's frustrating, dude. Anyways, so I'll show you on my truck real quick. Oh, it just spun itself around. How's that work out? Look at that. I got St. Christopher, and then I got St. Michael, and I don't know if y'all can see this, but You can't see that. Whatever. So now I'll show you all the damage. Look. So I mean, there's no damage to the front of my car. My front bumper is like the only thing up there that isn't destroyed. But what is destroyed is the side. So she basically hit me like right there. You know what I mean? She like hit the tire and hit there. Um and kind of skipped off the front of it. But yeah, she hit me in the side and it's her fault. And I'm looking forward to going and clearing that up in court. Um if you've seen, this is what's left of the back of my truck, just completely, I mean, everything. I had, shelves and all that built over there, and it's all just completely destroyed. So if I'm getting this fixed, then I'm going to rebuild everything in the back. But if not, that's why I'm waiting to rebuild it. I really hate seeing it like this, but, um, but I'm not sure if there's my refrigerator. I'm just not sure if I'm going to be. I'm not sure if I'm going to be, you know, getting my car fixed or getting a new one or what. I really, if they're going to pay. Oh, I'll show you. The airbags all went off. I just accidentally stopped recording. I'll show you. So, the airbags all went off on that side. So apparently that costs like thousands of dollars to repair. So my guess is, oh, is it recording? All right. So my guess is they're going to, if they pay for it, they're just going to pay me for the value of my car, which is around 5 or 6 grand, the Kelly Blue Book value of it. And if they do that, then I'm going to buy something else. Or if they're not going to fix it, then I'm going to pay my mechanic to fix it and just keep driving this until I can save up and get something better. I don't trust this car enough to travel around the country. Hondas are usually very reliable. The problem is that the previous owners of this Honda were not taking good care of it. I didn't have time to really shop around for a car. All my money was going down the drain. I was living in a hotel and I had to buy a car to live in. And everything I was looking at, there's so many con artists in Florida. That's what's so annoying. There's just so many scumbags down here. If you're ever going to buy a used car, you probably shouldn't do it in Florida. There's no lemon laws, so whatever you buy, it doesn't matter if the wheels fall off it as you're pulling out of the lot. They're allowed to sell you any busted, broken piece of shit and tell you that everything's fine. That's the laws in Florida. So my advice is don't buy a used car in Florida unless you have a reliable mechanic that you can trust and take your car to, or you know enough about cars to. I mean, a simple thing to do is you buy an OBD2 scanner. You can get it at AutoZone for like $50. I should have done this. Although honestly, this thing probably would have passed on the scan. Within 2 weeks of having this, the check engine light starts coming on. They sold it to me with a blown head gasket, I believe. They fixed it just enough to pass if I had scanned it. But anyways, I ended up having to put thousands of dollars into fixing the engine in this car. I just got unlucky. You know what? If you're gonna buy a used car in Florida, buy it from a person, not from a dealership. These little dealership scumbags around here, they don't care, dude. I don't care what the dealership is. I also don't care what Google reviews says, because I went to a mechanic down here and the guy tried to screw me out of a lot of money. I caught him and forced him to. I was about to just. He knew I had him by the balls because I caught him. He tried to screw me out of about $2,000, but I busted him, so he had to fix my car right. What's funny is every single person in there was complaining about getting ripped off about something. If you look on the Google reviews, he's got all these high ratings and shit, and it's all bullshit. Those Google reviews are bullshit. The guy who sold me this broken head gasket vehicle, the Google reviews for his dealership are all good. I mean, every once in a while you'll see someone who's telling the truth, and the guy's just a little scumbag. You know what I mean? Like, I knew that right off the bat dealing with him, but I needed a car at the time, and I was thinking to myself, Hondas are reliable. You can't screw a Honda up, but they managed to screw this one up by just, I'm assuming, driving it overheated, and you know what I mean? They blew the head gasket and then sold it to me with about a week's worth of life on the engine. So be careful if you're buying a car in Florida, these little scumbags. And that's the problem with the police. It's like, if there was no police, I would have showed up at his dealership with a bat and been like, you can give me my money back or I'm going to take it out in dental work on your face. You know what I mean? And that would have been that. And if he would have wanted to escalate it, I would have came out of there winning. I'll tell you that much. I'm not going to sit here talking about it on YouTube, but since there's police, I can't. What can I do? I'm going to call the cops and say this guy sold me a messed up car. They're going to be like, well, call the Better Business Bureau or some shit. So my point is that the police do nothing. And, you know, people think, oh, the thin blue line, if it wasn't for the police, all the criminals. No, like, there'd be no criminals because people like me would have whacked them all by now. So, you know what I mean? Like, the police don't do nothing except prevent us from taking revenge on the people who screw us over, realistically. Anyways, I guess that's the end of that rant. So, um, I guess that's the end of this video. How long was that? Oh, I had to split up the video. So, the next video, I don't know. I got a bunch of videos I want to make. We'll see what it ends up being. I got a new channel now, too, where I do movie reviews, but I've only got one video up. I'm going to get another one up soon. I appreciate all y'all. Thanks for all the subs, the likes, the comments. Been getting a lot of subs lately. I appreciate you. Thanks for the tips. Appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for the Patreon support. What I'm doing on Patreon is very different than what I'm doing on YouTube. Basically, I'm explaining how to escape the Matrix. I'm explaining how things actually work with the Illuminati and all that. And, you know, check out my Patreon if you want to know about it. So, my other channel, yeah, movie reviews, check that out. I'll link it in the description. It's only one video so far, but there's going to be a million of them because, anyways, yeah, so thanks. Thanks. I hate these little cars people buy and they make it all loud. And it's like, your car ain't fast, it's loud. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? If you're going to have a loud car, you may as well get a fast one instead of buying some little piece of shit Honda Civic and then putting all this crap on it that makes it loud. It's just, anyways. So, I guess that's the end of this video. I'll see you on the next one. Everybody have a good one.